Fun fact, the romantic comedy has been a cinematic staple since 1934 with the release of Frank Capra's Oscar-winning film, It Happened One Night. And ever since then, the rom-com genre has delivered us a ton of laughs, sometimes made us cry, yes, I'm talking to some of you guys out there too, and has reminded us that we're not alone inside of this crazy world that we call love. And let's be honest, we all have a big list of rom-com favorites, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Bridget Jones' Diary, and of course there's Something About Mary, but today we're going to narrow down our list to our favorite romantic comedies in no particular order, starting with The Princess Bride. The Princess Bride is special not only because it's one of my favorite romantic comedies ever, it's one of my favorite movies ever. But be warned, if you're looking for a modern rom-com, this one ain't it.
Inconceivable!
But it will take you on a different kind of romantic journey full of giants, pirate adventures, some terrifying animatronic rodents, and some very memorable sword fights.
My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Next on our list is Silver Linings Playbook. Now this rom-com was so good that it nabbed an Oscar nomination for Best Picture, so you know it's best list worthy. We're talking about Silver Linings Playbook here, which may be holding it down as one of our only medically dysfunctional rom-coms on our list. It features Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper as two kind of crazy, odd, and socially challenged people who bond over their strangeness. It's clever with our double V stamp of approval, of course, and sincere, and it ends in a terrible yet very beautiful dance routine that rivals the old movie crowd favorite, Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion routine. Our next pick is Groundhog Day. Now here is a rom-com you didn't see coming. This, my friends, is a Bill Murray classic that will continue to live on in our hearts for as many years as Phil relived that famous second day in February. Murray plays a sourpuss, middle-aged weatherman who is forced to relive the same day over and over again, which, depending on the day, could be pretty miserable. However, it did give him a daily chance to basically go back in time and right his wrongs and win over the heart of a very young and very charming Andie MacDowell, and we all got a few laugh-out-loud moments along the way. Our next rom-com is The 40-Year-Old Virgin. Watching Steve Carell's character Andy struggle with still holding on to his V-card at the ripe age of 40 is not only adorable, but it is also hilarious.
It's okay not to have sex. Not everybody's a magnet. You, what are you, 25?
I'm 40.
Holy man, you gotta get on that.
Poor Andy, we're not laughing at you, we're laughing with you. Oh, who are we kidding? With a movie that's funny, it's hard to even care about the romance.
Suck you oh, I hate you so much.
But this is a romantic comedy list, and Andy does finally find an awesome woman who he falls madly in love with and who is also a pro that she could gently guide him through the art of lovemaking. Perfect for the holiday season is our next choice, Love Actually. This British rom-com follows the stories of about 7 or so different couples who are navigating through their complicated love lives, so even you, yes, you are bound to at least find something you can relate to in this smorgasbord of crazy love. Now, some of these relationships end happily and some of them not so much. But if you don't believe in fairy tales, at least this movie will find a way to give you hope and a happy ending after all. And it just so happens to also feature one of the sweetest declarations of unrequited love to ever be written on cue cards. Being preggo never looked so horrible until we saw this next rom-com, Knocked Up. If we're being completely honest, we aren't so sure that we actually believe that Katherine Heigl would have ever gotten so wasted that she would have even touched, let alone get knocked up by Seth Rogen, but that's why this movie just works for us. Rogen plays that guy that he plays in movies, you know, the sloppy, immature, yet still charming schlub. But this time he gets to impregnate a successful, hot, career-driven woman. Oh yeah. And while that may sound like a dream scenario for some of you out there watching, hoping to find a sugar mama one day, you may want to see it to truly understand the consequences of what happens when you don't keep it in your pants.
Shove it back in, lady. It's not done yet. Oh my God. Oh, she kissed his head. Her lips have cream of wheat all over him now. Oh.
Showing our love for strippers in love, next up is Pretty Woman. Not including this rags to riches escort meets Playboy Cinderella-esque story that is Pretty Woman would have been a
big mistake. Big. Huge.
Julia Roberts plays a hooker with a heart of gold named Vivian in a role that ironically put her on the map as America's sweetheart. And she falls for a rich and handsome millionaire businessman played, of course, by Richard Gere. A hubba hubba.
I don't want you to get too excited. It's only on loan.
Now this isn't your everyday fairy tale and definitely has a few moments when it's a little quirky and a little bit strange, but Julia Roberts' charm, charisma, and that signature laugh is powerful enough to make this movie one of our absolute favorites. This list wouldn't even be a list without including The Wedding Singer. Now, many of you out there may not be old enough to remember the days when Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore actually made movies that were worth watching, but maybe there are a few of you out there. Remember the glory days of The Wedding Singer? The Wedding Singer was a landmark hit, and it was about a 1980s engaged wedding singer named Robbie who meets an engaged waitress, and spoiler alert, my friends, they fall in love with each other and then don't get married to their original sucky fiancés. Adam Sandler was at the top of his game, sporting a killer mullet, and Drew Barrymore was as adorable as she ever was, but perhaps it was the granny rapper that gave the most memorable performance.
Hip hop, a hippie to the hippie to the hip hip hop. You don't stop the rock to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie MC.
What else is better than cuddling up next to your special someone to watch Sleepless in Seattle? Now this is one of my absolute favorites, one of the most adorable get you right in the gut romantic rom-coms ever. And even though this was an early 90s hit, if you use Tinder out there, you'll probably be able to find this story super relatable, since the climax of the film is when two strangers meet up at a public place without knowing who in the hell each other are, hoping that their date is as attractive as they think they're gonna be. Meg Ryan's character lives in Baltimore and falls in love with Tom Hanks' character, who lives in Seattle, via the radio, thanks to Tom's adorable son calling in to tell his dad's story of heartbreak. The stars align perfectly and these two finally meet up in the romantic city of New York City at the Empire State Building, and the longest moment ever in cinematic built-up tension happens.
Shall we?
OMG, you guys. This is what my dreams are made of. Our last, but certainly not least, rom-com favorite is When Harry Met Sally. Bold claim, when this movie hit in 1989, it revolutionized the romantic comedy, and pretty much every great rom-com ever since has borrowed bits and pieces from this movie. The dynamic banter and unexpected chemistry between Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan made this quirky and neurotic love story one for the record books.
Yes! Yes! Oh! 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 Oh, God. Oh.
I'll have what she's having.
And if you're of the school of thought that men and women can be friends without ever having the desire to hook up with each other, well, you're wrong, and this movie proves it. There you have it, the rundown of our favorite rom-coms here at Clevver Movies. But before you go, which of our best are your favorites? And also let us know if one of your must-see movies didn't make the cut. Also, before you leave, click right over here to see our 2015 summer movie preview from Hollywood. I'm your host, Erin Robinson, and I'll see you next time.